The Storm Surge? More like poutine power. Stanley Cup champions, baby. Things that you love to see. Poutine power. Woo! What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to your two-time Stanley Cup champion Quebec Nordique franchise mode. That's right, baby. We did it once again for the second time in 3 years. Your Quebec Nordiques are on top of the hockey world. After losing out last year, we come back strong. And I mean, I'm going to say we as a collective team, but there was really two players that basically won the Stanley Cup for us. Conrad Stastny and Lubomir the Milkman Mahalik. Oh my god, were they ever good. I'm actually going to add up everyone else's goals and see how these two added up to the rest of the team. Hold on. With a combined total of 58 goals for 17 players, that's everyone not named Conrad and Lubomir, and these two guys had 47 goals between the two of them. They were just absolutely unreal. 58 goals for the rest of the team and 47 for two players. That's just ridiculous. But once again, Stanley Cup champions. Now I asked you guys what you're going to do with your day with the cup. Canada Chris, he's going to fill it up with milk and dunk Oreos in it. That's fair, I like that. Has to be the birthday cake Oreos though. Those ones are the secret weapon. My favorite response comes from Austin Taylor. He says Ovi style. That's what I'm going to do with the Stanley Cup. Watch out for Austin going to end up in a fountain downtown. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, he's going to eat poutine out of Lord Stanley. Things you love to see. And my dude Sam, he's going to keep it traditional. He's going to have some chicken noodle soup. Attaboy, Sam. So here we are, headed into year number 9. Here's just a quick look at all of our years, year by year. Year number 1, we had under 100 points. Back up in year 2 to over 100. Just shy of the century mark in 2021, 2022. And then we hit the century mark once again, and then 8 points out of the 100 mark. In the past 3 years, we've just been dominant. So over the past 9 years, I think we've done our job here in Quebec. We've won 2 Stanley Cups. I think it's safe to say we can call this franchise mode a complete success. Now looking at the franchise record, 656 games played, 400 wins on the dot, not including playoffs obviously, 213 losses, 43 overtime and shootout losses, for a total of 843 points. That is a 60.98 winning percentage. How you doing? Keep the change. And a 64.25 point percentage. Boom, math. How you doing? So I just said this franchise mode has been a success, blah, blah, blah. We're not ending it right yet, but I do want to talk about the next franchise mode. It's basically done. I've been working really hard on it. It's basically done. There's a few minor tweaks, and I'm hoping it works out. I did a quick 1-year test, and the results were kind of shocking, but we'll get to that. So I still have some minor tweaks to do, but what do you guys say we go 10 years with our Quebec franchise? We go 2 more years here, year 9 and year 10, and try to win as many cups as we can for a total of 4. I think we have the team to do it. We obviously have some work to do coming up into the off-season and the re-sign stage and the draft, all that stuff, because there is some question marks on our team. But I'm thinking we go 10 years and then we move on to the next franchise mode, which is going to be insane. It's, if you haven't been keeping up, we're removing everyone from the NHL. I'm saying everyone, no Crosby, no McDavid, no Leon Draisaitl, nothing. We're taking them all out. Every NHL team is going to go bye-bye, and we replace them with 31 new NHL teams with 1 high franchise player per team that's going to be involved in a fantasy draft. It's going to be something I've never seen done, and I'm super pumped on it. But we are still here in Quebec, so let's continue on with our Quebec journey. I think it's going to be good to end off. Conrad's going to be 30, Matty Barzell's going to be 32, but I'm also going to do a complete simulation just to show you guys point totals, all that stuff. So I will simulate obviously until Conrad retires and all of the other legends start retiring, and we'll do one giant video at the end. But we do have a comment over here from Brandon Barenfeld. He says, you are going to have to use your money wisely. You may be only able to keep one of Nick Suzuki or Arthur Kaliyev, which just kills me. I really want to keep them both. He says it's going to require some wheeling and dealing to keep them both. I don't even know if we can do that. We're in such a tight cap situation. Keep in mind that Suzuki still could drop, not saying he will, but he could. Now there's always that thing, will Suzuki drop? Will he do this? Will he do that? I don't think he's going to. I really don't know if we're going to be able to keep them. They both want north of $8 million. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the draft done and we'll revisit it in free agency. But I'm thinking more leaning towards getting rid of Arthur Kaliyev. The centermen are super important. There's still that question mark of whether Nick Suzuki could drop and then he's going to just drop down to an 84 and he's making $8 million bucks. I'm saying wingers are a bit easier to come by. Spike Helm is now an 85. He's basically ready to go for the top 6 minutes. He's a monster. He had 56 points this year, plus he had a fantastic postseason. He had, I think, 7 goals in the postseason, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he had 7 goals and 10 points. He was a beast. So I'm thinking that's just kind of my thoughts. We let Arthur Kaliyev walk. Another thing to letting Arthur Kaliyev walk is we can tender qualify him because he's an RFA, so we can actually get something for Arthur Kaliyev. Obviously, it's just going to be draft picks, but still getting something for a player that you're not going to be using is definitely a plus. So, I mean, we're 9 years into this franchise mode. There's really no point in moving up and, you know, trying to get into a lottery pick or even moving up in the draft a little bit, because it's really rare that any one of these players that we draft in year 9, especially year 10, are going to actually make the team. So the draft is not really super important at this point. So here is everyone in the first round. We're obviously going to be getting into some good guys here in the top 10. Looks like number 10, Detroit, got a nice 74 overall two-way defenseman, which is kind of cool. 78 overall, there you go. And then the New York Islanders, they ended up losing the draft lottery, going from 1 to 4, but they end up with a really nice young defenseman, 18 years old, 79 overall, Sergei Lakatanov. Damn, he looks nice. We got Mr. Rask and that guy, and then Kavanaugh. This guy was that freak of nature. Like Dallas needs any more firepower. 6'5", 200 pounds, a 50-goal scorer in junior. Oh my god, he's going to be so damn good. Alright, so let's go make our selection here at number 32, because obviously, once again, Stanley Cup champions. So we can pick a few different players here. Again, at this point, it doesn't really matter because none of these guys are going to be anything for us, because we're only here for one more draft after this. But let's go with an Alfredsson just to curse Ottawa, and our scout recommends him, and he is looking like, let's see here, see if he was a good pick at the tail end of the first round. 60 overall, medium top 9. It's not the worst thing in the world. Moving on, let's just get the draft done, because none of these guys are going to make an impact at all. Let's just go for some cool names here. Joey Duda, Matt Shugrin, Bennett Carney, Alan Watt. I like Pablo Noques. He's a defenseman out of Sudbury. There you go. Welcome to Quebec. And he turned out to be 59 overall, medium top 6. Any steals in the second round here? Doesn't look like it. All medium to low 60s. There's a low elite to Edmonton. That's not bad. Welch, Brown, nothing super fantastic. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything crazy. Oh, actually, the St. Louis Blues get Weiss, who's 75 medium top 6. That guy is a steal in the early second round. Going on to round number 3, 96th overall. Let's go with the goalie. He's an exact medium fringe starter. Why the hell not? There you go. A Finnish Tendy. What are we looking at here? Kind of sucks to have to go all the way back. 72 medium fringe starter. Not a bad pick at all. And that's actually the last pick we have in the third round. So that's it for the draft. Quick and easy. We only made 3 selections. That was a quick one. I really got to tell you guys, though, I'm really looking forward to this next franchise mode. I think you guys are really going to like it. It's going to be something that has never really been done. I'm super, super excited for it, though. All right, so Askarov signed, Quinn Wright's also signed, and Hoivanen as well. So we're looking good. So we have $12 million to spend, and you can see Nick Suzuki. What does he want? What's it going to be? It still want over $8 million? Yeah, 8 by 6. Okay, that's a lot. And then what about Arthur Kaliyev. What does he want? He wants a little bit less at 7.9. So we're taking a risk here with Nick Suzuki, giving him the big contract. But when you look at it, he has earned every single penny of it. And might I remind you, we traded Nick Suzuki for Jesse Puljujarvi. Thank you, Montreal. I mean, if you look back, we also gave up a little bit extra to get Nick Suzuki, but it wasn't a whole lot. I mean, a third, a fourth, and a couple of nothing prospects. I think we definitely won that deal 10 times over. He's an 80-point, two-time Stanley Cup champion. That's a huge W for us. But an 80-point player, I think he's worth the $8 million. I mean, don't get me wrong, it would be nice if he wanted 6. I would really like that. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to qualify Arthur Kaliyev and I'm going to sign Nick Suzuki. We have just over $12 million to work with. I'm going to see if he's going to want to go 8x6. I know it's a lot of money. I know it's a ton and we're probably screwing ourselves for the future, but since we're only going to be here for a couple extra years, I think we can afford to, pay him now. He's won some Stanley Cups, give him the money up front, and then hopefully it's going to pay off in the future. So Neil Pionk wants $3 million. Now that's basically going to be our entire cap situation if we sign Neil Pionk. Now we've kind of been rotating a bottom 6 defenseman for the last 3 or 4 years. Now Neil Pionk wasn't bad at all. He had 19 points. He had a couple of playoff goals, 10 points in 22 games. He was actually very good. I'm just wondering if we have the correct amount of cap. I don't want to give him $3 million and then we won't be able to sign a guy like Connor Lockhart, who didn't have the Stanley Cup winning goal, might I add. There's a lot of people telling me in the comments it was Matthew Barzal. I got caught up in it, so I gave Lockhart all the glory, even though it was Matthew Barzal who did end up scoring the Stanley Cup winning goal. So there you go. So even Tristan Jarry wants $3.3 million. So that's going to be a problem because we have to sign a backup goalie. At this point, I think we could probably find someone in free agency for a little bit cheaper, around the $1 million mark, or maybe give it to this guy. Maybe give it to Declan McLean, who's been in the system since 2021. So he's been here for a while. He's been down in the AHL for basically ever. Has never really put up super outstanding numbers, but maybe we give him the chance if we're tied up. But I'm going to go ahead and see how much money we have after signing all of our depth players and hopefully Nick Suzuki. And then Arthur Kaliyev is hopefully going to get offer sheeted. But I ended up signing Phil Kessel. He wanted a head coach job, and it's kind of the exact same thing as TJ Oshie. I offered him the assistant coach, and he says no. He wants to go be a head coach, so that's totally fair. He's won a couple of cups here. Exact same thing with Winchester. He was an AHL goalie coach. I thought I'd give him the NHL goalie coach, and he decides to say no. So I got to go ahead and figure that out. So Nick Suzuki is good, 8x6. That's a lot of money. Jake Vertanen says he's not too happy being on this team anymore. I think it might be time to go our separate ways. All right, that's kind of fair. Looking at Connor Lockhart, he says yes. All right, so Nick Suzuki's good to go. Connor Lockhart's good to go. Now, how much money do we have and who do we have to re-sign? We have $5 million left and we need a defenseman and a backup goalie. So should we just give the $3 million to Neil Pionk? I mean, he was good enough. He had 10 points in the postseason. That gives us $2 million to find some sort of backup goalie in free agency, and then everyone else is just going to go bye-bye. We're going to go ahead and tender qualify you, but Michael Dalgol, he's gone. Jake Vertanen looks like he's going to be gone, so we might have to find some younger fourth liners in free agency, but I think Tristan Jarry is going to have to go as well. But again, this is what happens. Stanley Cup teams, they fall apart. We've done a really good job of keeping our core intact over the course of this little Stanley Cup run. I got to go ahead and get some new coaches. We all knew that. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to a couple of legends, Tristan Jarry and of course King Arthur Kaliyev. You can see we only have $2.7 million. There was no way I'm going to be able to keep these guys. And as a third line scorer, 84 overall, he wants $8.2 million. Okay, and we actually have a franchise guy in free agency, Johnny Lindros. He is done with Philadelphia. He says, all I do is score 50 goals. That's all I do, but we never get the Stanley Cups. How good Looks like they're primarily a first-round team, which kind of sucks. They went deep a few years ago, but yeah, it looks like Johnny Lindros is looking to go elsewhere. Quinn Hughes in free agency. Sammy Blais, how's it going, kid? Out of Toronto now. He's looking for a new home after a huge 105-point year. He comes around with a 69 nice point campaign. Wasn't as great as his previous year, but he's looking to cash in just over $8 million. I mean, I'd rather give that money to a guy like Sammy Blais over Arthur Kaliyev. Now, I like Arthur Kaliyev, don't get me wrong, but $8.2 million for maybe 30 goals? That's a little bit much. All right, so looking for a backup goalie with basically $2 million. I think we can do it. We can sign a guy like Jacob Markstrom, Peter Mrazek, Burmistrov. He's young, only 26 years old. He's got the high starter potential. Ilya Burmistrov, where the hell are you from? Straight out of Toronto. All right, so yeah, this was that guy that was getting the starting minutes. I remember this guy. You know what? Stay in the East Coast, Ilya Burmistrov. Let's go. Come hang out in Quebec. He wants, we're going to have to give him a little bit more, 1.7. I only want to give you 1 year though. Let's go with that. He's still young enough, 26 years. I'm sure everyone's surprised I'm not signing Jacob Markstrom, but there you go. There's actually a 25-year-old medium elite defenseman out here, so I mean, why not? That's just easy money. Thank you very much. All these low elite guys, I know we're only here for a couple more years, but why not? Why not? Give them a chance. So with our current cap situation, I think we are going to, there's a little trade happening there. Travis Dermott goes to New Jersey from Anaheim. Okay, but I think with our current cap situation, we are going to see some struggles on the fourth line because we got rid of Jake Vertan and a few other guys. So you might see a guy like Zach Stringer make the jump up to the fourth line. And we got our backup goalie. We are all good to go. A bunch of young low elites and medium elites, things you love to see. Dougie Hamilton goes from the Islanders to Arizona. All right, there you go. Tyler Bertuzzi, he's been offered to us a few times. We're going to say no to that, but I will have a look at where Lindros ended up signing a contract to. That's a big one. Ryan Suzuki, there you go. He's been an AHLer. After that 1 year, he ended up winning the Stanley Cup with the boys. He's been back down in the American Hockey League. Oliver Bjorkstrand, no thank you. Let's go to the start of the year. Nothing really should happen here. This one might be a shorter one, but next episode will probably get the entire year done. Now, I'm surprised that Arthur Kaliyev hasn't gotten a offer sheet yet. I really thought he would. At this stage, we're almost at the start of the year. We're in late August. Does he still want over $8 million? No, he wants only $5. All right, so he's coming down in his price. There's this Ernquist guy who is a stud. Yeah, he's a monster. 21 years old, 85 overall, a 4th overall pick. He's having some contract issues with New Jersey. What does he want? He doesn't want a whole lot. I mean, he only wants 3.8. That seems like a reasonable contract for a absolute stud. Why is no one offer sheeting him? At the worst case, we'll go ahead and have to trade Arthur Kaliyev just for his rights. We'll go ahead and get like a pick or maybe an AHLer, maybe a cheap fourth liner. But Bowen Byram, he finally gets out of Colorado. He's gone to Edmonton. There you go, Edmonton making a smart move for once. It is kind of cool to see players that will eventually want less the more the offseason goes on. That's kind of cool. But Conrad, Matty Barzell, and Nasty Nas with the A's, I don't think we should change that. I think we're all good to go. We are going to have to potentially trade Arthur Kaliyev, and I'm going to do that once we look at the lines because there may be some things will have to change out here. The first line, we're not going to be touching that. Absolutely not. Barzell, Stastny, Raymond. Now Spike Helm making the big jump. Going to play with Nick Suzuki and Lubomir the Milkman Mahalik. Hoivanen, Lockhart, and Quinn Wrights. Okay. And then the Rolo man, Keith Yzerman, who was a low elite second rounder in 2022. He's been very patient down there in the American Hockey League. 55 points last year. He had a pretty decent junior career there and then came over to the AHL. So again, all of our fourth liners, they're all, I mean, aside from Coe, they look like they're listed as minor checkers. The Rolo man and Yzerman. I think we should keep them. I think I'm happy with that. The defense hasn't changed. Oh my God, look at Nitamaki. The Rhino, 92 overall. Things you love to see. He's got to play with Nasty Nas. Lindholm and Cale Makar. Shout out to Hampus Lindholm though. He's been here forever and he's just been steady as all hell. 2-time Stanley Cup champion. He's been here for what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, going on year number 7. And he's been just Mr. Consistency, a steady 25, 30, maybe 35 point defenseman. He's been so damn good for us, and 41 points in 132 playoff games. So he's got the experience, and I don't think we should be trading Hampus Lindholm anytime soon. I think he's creeping into the legend category. What a beast. And Hanu, the Oreo man, unfortunately hasn't grown yet, but a defensive defenseman, they're really hit or miss. Sometimes they grow, sometimes they don't. But 391 plus defenseman, how you doing? And as for the goaltenders, Vermistrov moved into an 82, so that was a great signing. That was awesome. And then obviously Askarov still kicking it there. Anyone scratched? Toskala, who is that defenseman that we just signed, so he's scratched. We'll put him in the AHL with Mr. Ryan Suzuki. We got to check out where Lindros went, obviously do our Tucker Tynan check-in, and then we're going to get this year started. Now, surprisingly, both of those guys cleared waivers. I thought for sure Toskala was going to get picked up, but okay, interesting. We might be able to get a better third liner if we just... Oh, who's this guy? Why do you have so much trade value? Where did we draft you? 3rd round in 2026. Okay, oh yeah, that's right. All right, he's got a ton of trade value. That's crazy. But I think we should just trade Arthur Kaliyev for basically whatever. We don't have a ton of cap right now, so I don't think we should be acquiring anyone. We could probably get a better 4th liner, but I mean, I'm happy with those guys. They've been awesome for us. I mean, they've proven that they can score at the NHL level, especially the Rolo man. Having a look at Tucker Tynan, and oh my god, he's probably not even playing in the NHL. Poor Tucker. Oh man, things you just hate to see. I'm so sorry, buddy. I wish I could save Tucker Tynan, but the cap situation just isn't there for us. He's got 3 goalies that are ahead of him on the depth chart. I really hope they trade him. Poor guy. All right, so what if we go to Philly here, get a 2nd and a nothing prospect, really? Basically just a pick. There you go, absolute no-brainer. There you go, Philly. My loss is your gain. Hopefully he signs with you. Let's get out of the preseason, and then we'll have a look at where Lindros went, and we'll check out a few other things around the NHL. God, I really hope that they trade Tucker Tynan, because that is just a bad situation there. He's a good enough goalie. Give him a chance elsewhere. All right, let's have a look around the league here. Let's see, first off, where the hell is Jesse Puljujarvi, and how do you spell his name? I have to Google this. I don't think anyone's going to shame me for trying to spell Puljujarvi. That's quite the name. And he is with the Minnesota Wild, and he's actually 84 overall, so he turned out to be relatively decent. Definitely not up to the level that Nick Suzuki's at, but still, not bad. And he looks like he got out of Montreal and just kind of flourished over there in Minnesota, which is nice to see. Now, the next big one was Johnny Lindros. All right, let's check out Mr. Johnny. He's with Buffalo. Okay, we'll have to check out the Buffalo Sabres roster. They end up signing Johnny Lindros. All right, so let's see what their roster is looking like. And then I want to see if the Flyers actually signed Arthur Kaliyev. I hope they do. So Buffalo now has Lindros, Eichel, and Len Reach, who is a checker. Okay, he's a two-way forward, but a top 5 pick. All right. Boris Kachuk, Casey Middlestat, Jeff Skinner. They have a nice-looking squad, but Johnny Lindros, holy, what an acquisition. Him and Eichel together, watch out. Those guys could lead the league in scoring without even thinking about it. And then as for Philly, did they sign Kaliyev? They did, and he's playing first-line minutes. Again, don't be surprised if Kaliyev goes and plots 30 this year. He's a beast, and they signed him to a $7.3 million contract, so he got paid. He's got 2 Stanley Cups on his resume. He wants to get big boy money, and there it is. So if we have any games up against the Flyers, we'll obviously go ahead and slow sim them, but let's get year number 9 underway, our second last year here in Quebec. It's been an unbelievable ride, but let's go. The Dallas Stars, they have that young kid, Kavanaugh. He's playing his first NHL game, assuming he made the squad, but he's 81 overall out of the draft. They'd be stupid to put him down in the American Hockey League, so let's go. Kavanaugh up against Conrad, period number 1, year number 9, 3-0, baby, picking up where we left off. Conrad and Lubomir, of course, 20-5 are the shots. Cale Makar gets the 3rd goal. Of of the first period, period number 2, 4-0. Rhino Nitamaki on the power play, but Tyler Seguin on the power play. He comes right back. Welcome to the league, Kavanaugh. This is what a Stanley Cup team looks like, baby. 4-1. Make it 4-2. Modano. So they have Modano, Kavanaugh. They got Tyler Seguin. They are stacked. They're going to be a good team in the future, but we have a really dominating first, and we continue where we left off on a dominating presence. Boom, take that, Dallas. And of course, you know I have to slow stim the game against the Ottawa Senators because, well, Ottawa. So let's go period number 1 against Ottawa. This is their first game of the year on enemy territory at the Poutine Place. We know all about these guys. Alfredson, never heard of her. Let's go. You score first. Poutine for everyone. Period numero uno. And we don't score first. Chubby and Tkachuk. Those bastards. Hoivonen gets 1 and Mahalik gets his second of the year, and we're down 3-2. Tkachuk gets 2 in the first as well. Going into period number 2, these games are always wild. We got Lassie Salo and Lubomir Mahalik. All right, going into the third. Come on, boys. This Ottawa rivalry is turning into be the biggest one. Nick Suzuki getting paid $8 million, and he's scoring like it. There you go. I was going to say, this Ottawa rivalry is turning into be larger. It's actually turning into be larger than the actual Montreal rivalry, but a fourth liner. He scores the go-ahead goal with 10 minutes left. Is that going to be all it takes? No, the xTech jinx is real. We're headed into overtime. If we go to a shootout, I will slow sim it, but we're not, because the Oreo man scores on Connor Hellebuck, keeping our undefeated streak alive at 2. There you go. Nice start to the year, boys. Trying to see if we have any games worth slow simming coming up here. I don't think we do. We have one against the Habs. That's like a little over a month away. Let's just get this first month done here. This one might be a shorter episode. The last one was over an hour long. I know you guys like that, but can't be over an hour long every single time. Oh my God, 9-3. See you later, Nashville. We're 4-0. That's a 4-3 win against Washington. Another 4-3 win against Toronto. Going up against the Hawks. Our 5-0 record on the line keeps it alive in the shootout. The 1-5 Jesse Puljujarvi Minnesota Wild. Of course we lose to the 1-5. The 1-5 Minnesota Wild. I'm going to persuade this because Spike Helm, you should be on the third line. You're a team player. This is the dumbest conversation ever, because 90% of the time they're going to be like, yeah, boss, you're right. I am a team player. I'll play wherever you need. It's like the same thing over and over. These whole conversation things, they're cool, but they don't really do a whole lot. 6-1, sorry, make it 6-3. xTech jinx. Oh my goodness. 7-3, there you go. 4-3 shootout win. We've yet to lose in the extra frame up against the Calgary Flames. We have 2 really tough opponents here going into the first week of November. I'll still sim these 2 games. Maybe I'll go up to the Montreal game. Maybe. I don't want to get too much done. Period number 1 against the Flames. Jacob Forsbacka Carlson, short-handed, and then Johnny Gaudreau. All right, we're out shooting them, but they have a 2-goal lead. Period number 2. They have a really good record, and it's still 2-0. Even though we're out shooting them, whoever the hell they have in net, they are playing outstanding. Power play. We've slowed down on the shots, closing in on 30. Still have yet to beat the Calgary goaltender. Who is their goalie again? I think it's the created guy. I think it's... No, sorry, it's Jake Aginla. Duh, of course. They have the franchise goalie, and he shuts us out 3-0. Of course, Aginla with the shutout. That's right. I created the guy. I should know. All right, let's continue with the simulation here. If we start losing games, I'm going to stop before we get too crazy. 7-5. Come on, boys. Big win against the Sharks. Come on. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Start stringing some wins together. There you go. As a back-to-back up against the Wings. They were really bad for a long time, and a 7-0 win. Looks like they're still really bad. Up against the Yotes, who are pretty good, 9-3. We lose in overtime, unfortunately, and there's our first OT loss. Kind of an interesting start. We've been hot, we've been cold. I think we're already at this point. We'll slow sim 2 more games. Actually, we'll slow sim, 2 more games. There's a few I want to look at on the calendar here. We got Philly, and obviously we got Montreal. A 5-0 win, 4-3. So basically we win 2, we lose 1, win 3, lose 1. I'm not super worried here. We're doing just fine. I would slow sim the game against the Islanders, but I know Tucker Tynan is not even playing. The poor guy's riding the pine. There you go. That's 4 wins in a row, and of course we get shut out by the Islanders, because of course we do. Let's get these last couple of games done here. We have 4 more games to work with here up against the Avs. After this Avs game, which we just lost 2-0, we got a few more games here. Spike Helm, he just wants to chat. All right, we're going to persuade him once again. You're doing fine, Spike Helm. There you go. Great. That was definitely worth the 9 seconds of my life. All right, Arthur Kaliyev, the first time he's playing his old team, now on his 3rd NHL franchise. He went from LA to Quebec. Now he's over here in Philly. We know how lethal King Arthur can be. He's got an insane wrist shot. Let's go period number 1 against Philly and King Arthur. Nolan Patrick and Hampus Lindholm get the goals. It's a 1-1 game going into the second, and it's okay. They blow it out. It's 5-2. Jeremy Bracco, Valerie Nichushkin, Nolan Patrick, and Frankie Vetrano. Hoivanen scored 1 for us, but we are getting schooled right now. Dylan Cousins makes it 6-2, but then Lucas Raymond with the afro makes it 6-3, looking like Bob Ross. There's still time. There's still time. Come on, boys, get 1, and then another, and then we got all that momentum and then tie up the game, maybe? Nope. Frank Vetrano makes it 7-3, and Philly takes us to school. All right, so 14-10-1 here. It's been an interesting start to the year. Obviously, our team isn't quite as good as it was last year, where we were just absolutely dominant, but there's a couple back-to-back wins in the shootout, and look at this team in Montreal. 3-24-0. If we don't beat these guys, there's seriously something wrong. Holy crap, they're bad. They are god-awful. They have 6 points on the year. 6! That's it. 6 freaking points. That's all they have. That is ridiculous. You can see 6 points, 3-24-0. Okay, we should be beating these guys. Once again, here's our all-time record. Little recap here against the Habs. We are 13-6. We've basically dominated them since 2023. They've only won once. They've basically only won once in the past like 4.5 years. So let's go here, guys. We've outshot them 75-61. This should be a game you should win 7-0, no problem. Period. Number 1, and it's 3-1. Okay, looking good. Spike Helm, Yzerman, and Spike Helm. There you go. Attaboy Yzerman scoring a big goal. We started our backup, obviously. Period number 2. Okay, 7-1. I was right on the 7 mark. Connor Lockhart, Matty Barzal, Mahalik, and the Rhino. All right, there you go. That should be an easy W here. Let's rack it up. Let's just keep it going. Pedal to the metal. 7-1. This is a really bad team in Montreal. The former Montreal Canadian, and look who signed in Montreal. Tristan Jarry, another former goalie, having a really bad time on his new team. Conrad Stastny makes it 9-2. Poor Tristan Jarry. The poor guy goes from literally the best team in the league to the worst team in the league. Ouch. 9-2, and that was a lot of depth scoring as well. Spike Helm with 3 points, things you love to see. Sorry about that, Montreal. How bad is their roster? Jesus, they're awful. All right, I got to do a few things here. Is Tucker Tynan in the NHL? He is. He's actually the starter, and he's actually playing pretty good. 4-4. Hey, he'll take that. He will definitely take that. Attaboy, Tucker. And then as for the Montreal Canadiens, Tristan Jarry came in as a Stanley Cup champion, a few times Stanley Cup champion, obviously won a few times with Pittsburgh there. Had 2 years with Quebec, but 3-14 to start off his tenure with the Montreal Canadiens. How much did he get paid? 3.4, so he did definitely get paid, and they have a young Frederick Benson, who is 0-12 on the year with a goals against average of 5.46. No, that's not a typo. That's seriously what his goals against is. So we're definitely going to have a look at that and see what his record is going to end up. I really hope he goes 0-45. But here we are looking at our stats here. Wow, something interesting. Look at Conrad way down here. Okay, maybe he's tired. He's been carrying the team on his back for almost 10 years. He's taking a little bit of a break. But one thing that jumps out at me is the Rhino Man, Nitamaki, 23 points in 24 games. Nick Suzuki, almost a point per game player. Definitely playing up towards that contract, $8 million bucks. We got Lucas Raymond here, 25 points. Matty Barzell. No one's actually a point per game for the first time in I don't know how long. That's interesting. We got Spike Helm doing his thing. Cale McCarr. Quinn Wrights, Nasty Nas, Co. I mean, I can tell the team isn't quite as dominant as we were in past years. Let's have a look at the tendies. How's Askarov doing? He's 12-5, and Burmistrov is 5-5. Now, looking at the entire league, is scoring down generally, or is it just our team? How's that kid from Dallas doing? Kavanaugh, he's got 10 goals in 27 games, 12 points. Looks like it's going to be a tight rookie race this year, unless there's a crazy goalie. Doesn't really look like it. We got another Markstrom in the NHL. Having a look at the entire league for scoring. Is scoring down, or is it just us? 43 points in 27 games is not bad. Kyle Correa, 41. Gretzky, 41. McKinnon, 40. McKinnon on the Kings is just so weird. Sean Monahan, Gordy Yzerman, Kaapo Kakko. So scoring maybe a bit down, maybe a little bit. Johnny Lindros looks like he's fitting in just fine with Jack Eichel. As for goals, who's leading in Genos? Why do I keep clicking the assists? 26 goals in 27 games for Kyle Correa. Johnny Lindros, Johnny Hockey, a couple of Johnnies. We got a Nathan, an Anthony, a Vince, a Paul, a Valerie, and a Bruce, all leading the league in scoring. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. We got 2 more years here in Quebec. Let's try to win 2 more Stanley Cups. We're off to a decent start. We'll get the rest of the year done in the next video. We're currently at December 9th, which is my mom's birthday. Fun fact. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.